just admitted I should have flown with someone else or gone by car. 'Cause United breaks guitars. When we landed in Nebraska, I confirmed what I suspected.
Dude.
DaveCarrollMusic.com if you want to see the rest of the video.
I just love the expression of the stewardesses.
I'm pretty sure she was on my flight here today.
Oh, was she? Okay, wow, man, dude.
So that's what you can get. And again, imagine if you're the person in charge of branding, and you know, again, 8 million people watch that video. That's several million dollars worth of eyeball traffic. Just like that, that's the kind of thing. So that's how out of control the social media space is. I think this is a great balancing act for consumers who feel like they've got a beef. They can use it, but if you're working for a company, that's a challenge.
You know, that's kind of interesting because it seems like one of those emergent properties of this new technology that you may not have anticipated. So if you're a company, like I said, dude, you're in HR, man, or you're in customer service or marketing, that's a seriously bad weekend, man. As soon as that thing tips $1 million, and you watch it, to refresh.
Oh my God, the sweat's pouring down your face. How do I respond to this? And I think there's a lot of parallels between this kind of response and the kind of response that folks here are often worried about. How do we deal with consumers who have to make choices, and do they make good choices or bad choices? So I just published this book, Stop Getting Ripped Off.
Excellent book, by the way, man.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And New York Times bestseller?
Yeah, first week. People are very worried about getting ripped off nowadays.
Okay, I don't know if that's a good or bad sign, man.
Well, it's a very intense topic. And so the second half of the book is how to not get ripped off. But the first half asks the question, why are Americans so vulnerable? Why do we get ripped off so much? And I know you all know the answer. We're stupid and lazy.
Speak for yourself, man. I mean, sorry.
There's applause from the crowd,
loud,
right? I mean, and actually, and I'm not kidding, there's a lot of government research about this. I have all sorts of statistics on this in the book, but just as some example, they gave people a quiz. Essentially, could you add 2 menu items and figure out how much the total would be and what would a 10% tip be?
Okay.
58% of Americans were incapable of adding 2 numbers and multiplying by 10%.
Are you serious, man?
And you know this is true.
Are you like if I got a 99-cent fries at McDonald's and then a 6-piece nuggets?
Yeah,
58% of people can't.
Could not answer that question. Think about the last time you were at lunch with 4 friends. The bill comes. What happens?
They wait and hope somebody else picks it up.
I don't know. Wait, where's my iPhone tipulator?
Yeah.
Right, which you know, and then in the end, everyone pulls out a $20 bill, throws it on the table, and hopes the waitress figures it out. Now, you take that person, put them in a seat at a car dealership or in front of a mortgage broker, they don't stand a chance. And that's the world that we live in. So there's actually a small field of study called innumeracy, which is basically mathematical illiteracy, which is looking at this problem, which I think is really a hidden epidemic in America, of people don't know the basics. Now, we can apply this, not knowing the basics, to computer security as well.
Yeah.
Because we are asking more and more people to make intelligent choices about how they use Facebook, how they decide on passwords, how they allow their gadgets to communicate, and they're underqualified, clearly.
Well, and those choices, I think, are becoming increasingly complex. If you've ever had to manage your privacy settings on a lot of the social networking sites, it's not clear to the average person. Me, I live and breathe this stuff, man, and I got to say, well, what does that really mean?
And then you finally get it right, and they change the settings, so you have to go back and make sure.
Yeah, that's right,
the
and you have to
settings are
revise.
still correct. And so, I mean, I think this is something we all really need to think about. I know, and I always get laughter when I say we're lazy and dumb, because obviously that's true. We are lazy and dumb. In this room, we have a room full of experts who know about computer security and who think about privacy, like you do. And there's a room full of people who don't. There's a world full of people who don't. I don't know what the percentage would be, but it's probably 1%, 99%. And I'd like for everybody in the room to think about the fact that while you're the experts in this area, and they're the freshmen.
Yeah, the family, the friends, the
the average folks, the
tech support.
All right, the idiots. There's the experts and the idiots. I bet if I turned it to another topic, like planning for retirement, changing the oil in your car, going to the dentist.
That's true. You know, now that
It'll
you
be
say
reversed.
that, the last time that I went to my dentist, he's got, how many times do you floss that? Well, when I can remember. And he just looks at me with this scornful look.
The same look that your IT guy had last time he said, did you change your password?
That's right. Or the same look I may have given somebody when they said, I got this great e-card in my email and double-clicked on the EXE. And
right, what are you doing? The world is so full of people who are demanding to us, how could you not have gotten your teeth cleaned? How could you not have changed your oil? How could you not have taken care of your privacy settings?
So I can see what you're saying in terms of sort of, I don't even know if I'd call it sympathy, but understanding where the users are coming from because they're not experts in this area. But still, we're moving more and more towards a time where users have to make good security choices. It's important for the ecosystem. So you mentioned mortgages, right? So if people can't add 2 menu items, I would say that it's very difficult to sort of filter through a mortgage agreement.
To make good choices about buying houses, and we all know that our country, our world economy, was put to the very brink largely because of bad mortgage choices. Now, again, we can all say, well, they're dumb, that's their fault. But all sorts of data shows if you live in a house that's on a street where there is a house foreclosed, your house loses 1% to 2% of its value. For every 50 houses in your neighborhood, in your town that loses value, your home loses about 10% of its value. So just like in security, where my security counts on yours and counts on yours, we're all in this together. That's also true of these other economic issues. So when someone else makes a bad economic decision, it affects you too. When someone overpays for a house in your neighborhood or neighborhood you want to live in, that means you have to overpay too to get near a good school. So if I could leave the folks here with any piece of advice, try to be a little more understanding. When you're dealing with folks who are less sophisticated than you, Ted Williams, a big baseball fan, is a classic example of someone who was a great hitter, terrible coach. When you know how to do things, it's often very, very hard to teach other people because you know it so well. Try to keep that in mind.
Well, I want to bring our next guest into this conversation. So this is a guy that's incredibly in touch with the customer. Every time that I've sent him an email, scarily, I've gotten a response, and maximum, I think, because I've actually been timing this, under a minute, right, which is really incredible given the amount of email that he must get. And he really needs no introduction. I'm sure many of you have used Craigslist over the years to buy and sell things. I'd like to welcome the founder of Craigslist, Craig Newmark. Craig, how's it going, man? Welcome. Here, have a seat. Who's answering your email right now, man? You got me kind of worried.
I'm doing it right now. Actually, I'm about 45 minutes behind with customer service, but that probably won't cause much panic.
Man, I look at how quickly that I've been getting emails from you, and I've heard the same reports from other people out there. And I've also seen this kind of evolution in Craigslist over the last couple of years in how you inform customers of risks. So whenever I buy something now, I buy a big screen TV or I'm looking for an apartment, this big red notification across the front, don't accept credit cards from people you don't know. What made you guys tip and make that decision that we want to push this message out to users? Like, what was the back-end conversation that led to those customer notifications?
It's basically a matter of listening to people and do what makes sense. Underlying that is the notion that you want to treat people like you want to be treated. So we put up a short, respectful message. The deal is that we want to get the information out that people need while not making it so long or legalistic that no one will ever read it.
Well, we've been talking a little bit about people making choices and making good security choices. So I live in New York, right? And whenever I walk down a street, I know signals of a bad neighborhood. I see graffiti on the side of the wall, I hear a gunshot, and I know this is not somewhere I want to be right now, right? And I get in a cab and get out of there as quickly as possible. And there are these signals that I've grown to understand and know just through life experience, and I